8 Ways Tarot Cards Can Help Your Mental Health, or Hurt It. By Beth Ann Mayer on June 4, 2021. Fact-checked by Maria Gifford, Healthline. In October 2020, Jude Hinson lost her job, her home, and her grandfather. Then her fiancé left her, all in the space of 1 week. I felt completely out of control and entirely responsible for the situation I was in, Hinson recalls. One thing I found to be incredibly helpful was using tarot as a way for me to more objectively look at my situation. It gave me some hope. Hinson had been reading tarot cards for more than a decade. When things got tough, they helped her make sense of her situation. In addition to reading cards every day, she continued to see a therapist once per week and take medication for depression and anxiety. Now that she's doing better, she still pulls cards about once per week. Hinson isn't alone in seeking solace in tarot. And tarot card readers have, at least anecdotally, reported seeing an uptick in business during the pandemic as people grapple with uncertainty. People were looking for the bigger messages, says Farasha, who goes by a single name. She's worked as a tarot card reader for more than 35 years. What is tarot? Tarot may be becoming more mainstream, but not everyone is familiar with the practice. Though its historical origins aren't certain, tarot cards likely emerged in the 14th century, brought to Western Europe from Turkey. Tarot is a deck of cards with culturally derived meanings that you can use for spirituality, art, and storytelling reasons, says trauma-focused therapist Ida Manduli, LCSW, who uses they/them pronouns. Manduli sometimes pulls cards for clients in sessions and says it's a helpful tool. Still, they admit it isn't for everyone. Listen on for what professional tarot readers think about the pros and cons of using tarot for mental health. Pros to using tarot for mental health. There are several positives to using tarot cards for mental and emotional support and healing. It turns self-care into soul care. For generations, people turned to organized religion to find purpose in their lives and strength in troubled times. More than a quarter of U.S. adults said they considered themselves spiritual but not religious, the Pew Research Center reported in 2017. That's an 8% increase from 2012. Tarot cards fit into this trend. Cindy Sanson-Braff, a New York-based author and tarot reader, calls tarot a spiritual practice that helps people better understand themselves. Sometimes, when people are anxious and depressed, it's a sign that their soul needs nurturing, says Sanson-Braff. Tarot connects deeply with the soul. It's a really good vortex for opening the subconscious mind and collective unconscious mind, and for figuring out what's going on below the surface. It can complement therapy. You don't have to choose between seeing a therapist, taking medication, and reading tarot. Like Hinson, many find that tarot is a valuable component of a holistic approach to mental health. Tarot isn't a one-size-fits-all cure-all for your mental health, but for me, it's a big part of my mental hygiene regimen, Hinson says. Sanson-Braff sees clients who are taking similar approaches. For example, she would refer a client with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, to a therapist. Still, she says she often can play a role in helping the person, too. I can help them deal with some of the lessons they may have learned in therapy. Sanson-Braff says, tarot can open dialogue. Sometimes, Manduli's clients have trouble opening up. Tarot can help get the conversation going. If a person pulls out the death card and their understanding of the death card is different than mine, that's a perfect moment for us to talk about how the same situation can bring about different stories and interpretations, they say. The death card doesn't have to be a negative thing, and we can use that to talk about life changes. This dialogue can help Manduli talk with clients about solutions. For example, perhaps the person will pull out a Tower card next, which symbolizes abrupt change. It may open the door for you to think about changing a relationship, and maybe you weren't giving yourself permission to think about that before, Manduli says. It's getting more representative. Manduli says that some of the older tarot card decks play into gender and class stereotypes. In a lot of traditional decks, tarot cards are gendered and boxed into masculine and feminine, they say. There is an inherent hierarchy, like kings and queens, which are monarchy. But Manduli notes that some artists, like Emily Lubanko, Margaret Trouth aka Egypt or Nash, and Fyodor Pavlov, are coming out with decks that buck these traditional notions. This may help people find more inclusive insight into their mental health concerns. For people who don't see themselves represented in organized religion, tarot is a way to engage spiritually, Manduli says. Cons for using tarot for mental health. The factors below may discourage you from pursuing tarot in your personal practice. It might go against your beliefs. Though fewer adults in the United States affiliate with organized religions than ever before, many still do. For these individuals, tarot readings may contradict religious beliefs. If this is the case for you, tarot may not help. Readings would cause them to feel guilt for turning to tarot cards, Farusha says. That will cause them stress. If you're skeptical, it won't help. Other mental health treatments, like cognitive behavioral therapy and group therapies, have a wealth of research backing their effectiveness. In these forms of treatment, you talk about and contextualize behaviors. This requires you to take a step back and think critically and logically about yourself. Tarot is a tool for critical self-reflection as well, but it hasn't been studied nearly as intensely. While it asks you to examine your motives, actions, thoughts, and beliefs, it also requires a degree of faith that the card you're pulling can be a source of insight about these topics. For tarot to work, you have to suspend disbelief and open up something that may feel surreal. Not everyone can do that. If you aren't open to it, it's not going to help you, says Sanson Braff. It's only going to make it worse, because you're just not going to hear anything that's being said. It's not a replacement for therapy. Sanson Braff stresses that some individuals should still see a therapist, and Manduli agrees. Using tarot is not a replacement for professional guidance for mental health, medication, or treatment plans, Manduli says. Manduli adds that in some circumstances, tarot could make a person's mental condition worse. Use of tarot could be contraindicated with clients who have severe and persistent mental illness that has active paranoid or psychotic symptoms, as those can sometimes get exacerbated by the use of tools with such rich imagery and intense meaning, such as those in tarot, they say. There's room for misinterpretation because the cards have multiple meanings. It's possible to misinterpret them or use them to confirm pre-existing biases. Sanson Braff has had many clients calling her, asking if they should get the COVID-19 vaccine. They told her they got the death card and felt this was the universe telling them not to get the shot. I said, not necessarily. Let's pull 2 other cards, she says. One person got the strength and health cards. I said, maybe it's telling you if you get your COVID-19 vaccine, you won't die and will have health and strength. We tend to interpret the cards to mean what we want them to mean. Sanson Braff also advises clients to speak with a healthcare professional about decisions like vaccines. And for non-medical life choices, such as career or relationship changes, Manduli suggests consulting more than one tarot reader. As with most things, if someone wants to go hard on the cards, get a second opinion, they advise. Is it right for you? As with any treatment, tarot will help some people and not work for others. The litmus test is simple. Does it make you feel better? If you get a reading and you don't feel peaceful, it's wrong, Sanson Braff says. Even if I deliver hard messages, they are delivered with love and to help. If it's causing you anxiety and you can't do something because of a card, then it's only going to do more harm than good. Takeaway: some people are turning to tarot to help support their mental health. Tarot cards may help you spark a conversation with a therapist, find meaning in your life circumstances, and identify solutions. There is a spiritual component to tarot cards, which may appeal to those who don't associate with organized religion. That said, tarot may go against your faith, or you may find it hard to believe. It's also not a replacement for therapy, though it can complement it. Because the cards have multiple meanings, it can be tempting to see what you want to see. Experts say that getting a second opinion can help alleviate confirmation bias. The bottom line: if tarot cards make you feel more at peace and help you feel better, they could be a good resource. If they don't, it's okay to move on to something else.